cobblestone streets, climbing those famous hills, the soulful sound of Fado escaping from little taverns, and oh, those incredibly delicious custard tarts, pastéis de Nata. Lisbon just has this immediate charm that's hard to ignore, but is this captivating Portuguese capital just a pretty postcard, or is there, a deeper story waiting to be uncovered?
That's exactly what we're here to explore today. Welcome, everyone, to The Deep Dive, your audio shortcut to understanding the world around you. We take a whole load of information, all the source material, and boil it down to the key insights. And today, we're focusing that lens right on Lisbon, just for you.
Exactly. Forget scrolling for hours online. We've done the digging to bring you the core of what makes Lisbon tick. So over the next little while, we'll be diving into what makes Lisbon so special, the experiences you absolutely shouldn't miss, the must-try flavors, figuring out accommodation and costs.
Right, and how to get around budgeting realistically the best time to actually go.
And getting a feel for the local culture and, importantly, how to stay safe. Okay, so to kick things off, what is it about Lisbon? What's that initial spark?
Well, I think what's immediately striking is how Lisbon wears its history right on its sleeve. Through its architecture, it's like walking through different time periods. You might see traces of Moorish design, then like around the corner, a huge Gothic cathedral, followed by that intricate Manueline style, which is uniquely Portuguese, by the way. Very ornate, lots of nautical themes from the Age of Discovery, and then, sleek modern buildings too. It's a real mix.
It really is a visual feast. And it's not just single buildings, is it? It's how the different neighborhoods feel. They each seem to have their own distinct vibe.
Absolutely. Each district kind of tells a different part of Lisbon's story. You take Alfama, for instance, those narrow winding streets. They're not just charming, they're a direct legacy from Moorish times. The name itself apparently hints at hot springs from back then. It just feels ancient, especially climbing up from the river towards Saloré Castle.
Yeah, you can feel the history there.
Then you contrast that with Baixa. All grand plazas, wide avenues, totally different feel. Very grand, rebuilt after the big earthquake, right? That was the old Royal Palace area too.
It's amazing how the atmosphere changes just walking a few blocks. And then there's Barro Alto.
Barro Alto. Okay, that's where Lisbon gets really lively, especially at night. It's got this fantastic bohemian kind of buzzing atmosphere. Definitely known for its nightlife.
Right.
Then you've got Chiado, which feels much more contemporary, lots of shops, theaters, and Belém, of course, down by the water with those massive iconic landmarks. We'll definitely talk more about those.
And it keeps going. Brasa and Príncipe Real sound lovely. More authentic, maybe. Sociable cafes, local shops.
Exactly. And for something different, there's LX Factory and Alcantara, really arty, creative spaces. Even Belém is apparently getting quite trendy. You could seriously spend days just exploring neighborhoods.
Definitely. But beyond the sights, there's that sound, isn't there?
Fado. Oh, Fado. Yes. It's often called the soul of Lisbon. It's this deeply soulful Portuguese music, often quite melancholic, full of longing. They call it saudade, right? That very Portuguese feeling.
Yeah, that longing.
That often sings about the hardships of the poor or life at sea. It came about in the 19th century from the working class area, so deeply rooted in the city's identity. UNESCO even recognizes it.
You can really feel that emotion when you hear it live. And then Lisbon also has this amazing location, is right on the coast.
Precisely. Being right on the Tagus River is huge. And it's not just the river, you're super close to fantastic sandy beaches. A quick train ride gets you to Cascais or Estoril.
Oh, nice.
Or Costa de Caparica. And further out, you've got the Serra de Sintra and Serra da Arrábida national parks. Plus, you get those Atlantic breezes, which really helps temper the summer heat.
Always a bonus. And when the sun goes down, Lisbon seems to have a whole other life, famous for its nightlife.
Oh, absolutely. Places like Barro Alto, which we mentioned, and Castro Sodré really come alive. The bar scene is incredibly vibrant, people spilling out onto the streets. Yeah. It's a very social atmosphere.
So you put it all together, the architecture, the different neighborhood vibes, the music, the coast, the nightlife. It sounds pretty unique.
It really is compelling.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk practicalities. What are some of the absolute must-do experiences when you're actually there?
Well, number one for many people is riding Tram 28. It's almost obligatory, isn't it?
Pretty much.
It's this iconic yellow tram, looks like it's straight out of the 1930s. It just rattles and screeches its way through the historic center, squeezing down these incredibly narrow streets. It's basically a moving viewpoint.
It's a fantastic way to see a lot. And speaking of exploring, just getting lost in Alfama streets is an experience in itself.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just wander. You'll stumble upon tiny squares, traditional houses, maybe a hidden Fado spot.
Right.
And make sure you find the viewpoints, the miradoros within Alfama, like Mirador de Santa Luzia or Portas do Sol. The views over the river are just, wow.
Sounds amazing. You could probably spend a whole day just in Alfama. Maybe catch some Fado with dinner there.
That's a great idea. And speaking of landmarks, you absolutely have to visit Belém.
Right, the tower and the monastery.
Exactly. The Belém Tower, built back in 1515, fortress, lighthouse, UNESCO site, the whole deal. Costs about €9 to go in, I think. And then the Geronimos Monastery, another UNESCO giant, took over 100 years to build. Incredible Manuline style, all those sea-related carvings. That's about €10 entry.
Wow. And isn't that where the famous Pastéis de Belém bakery is?
It is, yes, the original. But we've heard Fábrica de Nata is another fantastic place for pastéis de nata. Maybe even better, according to some. Definitely worth trying both, I'd say.
A custard tart taste-off. I like it. So back to Fado for a second. You mentioned dinner in Alfama.
Yeah, that's often considered the best way to experience it authentically. You find a traditional Fado house usually includes dinner. It might cost around, say, $50 per person all in.
Okay.
But it's a really memorable cultural immersion. Definitely book ahead, though. They get busy.
Good tip. And you mentioned viewpoints, the Miradoros. There are quite a few, aren't there? Lisbon's built on hills.
7 hills, famously. So yeah, plenty of amazing viewpoints. Mirador da Cima do Monte is maybe the highest incredible panorama. Santa Lucia, as we said, especially lovely at sunrise, apparently.
Ooh, sunrise.
Portas do Sol is great for sunset. Mirador da Graça is right by a convent, no fee for that one. You can even go up onto the roof of the Mosteiro de São Vicente de Fora.
Oh, cool.
That's about €5.50. And the Elevador de Santa Justa, that big iron elevator, has a viewing platform too, costs about $1.50 just for the view, or more if you take the ride.
Right, the elevator itself is an experience.
And of course, the towers up at St. George's Castle, €10 entry for the castle, give you brilliant city views as well.
So many options for views. What else shouldn't we miss? Any other key activities?
Well, the Jardim Botanico is lovely, a big 10-acre botanical garden, loads of plants, only a couple of euros to get in. Exploring St. George's Castle itself, not just for the views. It's a proper medieval castle with a museum. Riding the Elevador de Santa Justa, as we mentioned. Hanging out in Praça do Comércio, that huge riverside square. Popping into the Sé de Lisboa Cathedral that's free.
Nice.
Just riding the other old trams, the remodelado ones, is fun too. For art lovers, the Berardo Collection Museum has modern and contemporary stuff, and it's free on Saturdays.
Good to know.
Visiting the Geronimos Monastery properly, not just seeing it from outside. Check out the Discoveries Monument. You can go up that too, about €6. And maybe a sailboat cruise on the Tagus, especially late afternoon for sunset. Often includes wine. Sounds pretty nice.
That sounds very tempting. What about getting out of the city? Sintra seems to be the big one.
Oh, Sintra's a must if you have time. It's about a 40-minute train ride, super cheap, less than €5. You can see the Pena Palace looks like a fairy tale castle, and the old Castle of the Moors.
Right.
Full-day tours are an option too, maybe €65. Definitely go early, wear comfy shoes, it's hilly, maybe pack a picnic. Oh, and Pena Palace entry isn't included in the Lisboa card, remember that.
Good point. Okay, all this exploring is making me hungry. Let's talk food. What are the Lisbon essentials?
Okay, food. Lisbon's cuisine is fantastic. Lots of fresh seafood, simple but amazing flavors, and those incredible pastries. Number one, obviously, Pastel de Nata. We mentioned Fábrica de Nata. Apparently, their breakfast combo with a croissant and latte is like $4 US bargain. Yeah. And definitely add cinnamon.
Yes. Cinnamon is key. What else?
Fresh seafood is everywhere. Grilled sardines are iconic. And you have to try ameixois, bullhon pato clams in this amazing garlic and cilantro sauce. About $10 US maybe. So good.
Okay, clams. Got it. More substantial dishes.
Bacalhau à Brás. It's shredded salt cod mixed with eggs and crispy potatoes. Really classic, comforting Portuguese dish. Maybe $18 US at a place like Mesa de Frade, or cheaper elsewhere.
Sounds interesting. Cod and eggs.
It works. Also for a quick bite, the bifana. It's a simple pork sandwich, marinated pork in a bun. Delicious and cheap. And you have to try ginginha, the cherry liqueur, usually served in a chocolate cup.
Ooh, cherry liqueur and chocolate. Sold.
Right. For something simple, a toast to mist, their version of a ham and cheese toastie. Perfect for lunch. Maybe $10 with juice and coffee somewhere like Portas do Sol Cafe.
Okay. Any more unusual recommendations?
We saw mentions of amazing sea bass bao buns at a place called Boa Bao. And a squid carbonara sounds intriguing at a restaurant called Prado. Oh, and pate de sardinha, sardine pate, often served as a starter. And if you go to Sintra, try the quijada de Sintra, a local cheesecake-like pastry.
My mouth is watering now. Where do we find all this great food? What kind of places?
You've got a real range. For
Yeah.
super traditional cheap eats, look for Tascas. They're these no-frills, often family-run spots, often have a Prato do Dia meal of the day for under €8. Amazing value.
Perfect for budget travelers.
Absolutely. Then you have dedicated seafood restaurants. A cevicheria was mentioned for ceviche and seafood quinoa, maybe 25, 35 US and per person. Need to get there early, apparently. And pastry shops, of course, like Pastelaria Versailles, been around since the 1920s. Classic.
And for something a bit fancier.
Mesa de Frade in Alfama sounds special. It's in an old chapel. Definitely need reservations there. Boabao, the Asian place in Barro Alto, sounds fun, but no reservations, so again, go early. And Prado, for farm-to-table stuff, reservations are essential. Seems very popular.
Okay, great range of options. So we're well fed. Where are we going to sleep? What's the accommodation scene like?
Lisbon's got something for pretty much every budget. For budget-friendly, you've got hostels, dorms, maybe €20 a night, private rooms, €6,500, budget hotels, maybe €65, €85, Airbnb private rooms around €30 and €80, even campsites outside the city for
Good.
€12.
Wow, really covers the spectrum.
Yeah, some sources mention areas like Moraria or near Avenida Almirante Reis as potentially cheaper, but maybe need a bit more street smarts for some travelers.
Okay, mid-range.
Mid-range, you're looking at lovely boutique hotels or traditional guest houses, especially in Alfama, maybe €80, €50, or full Airbnb apartments for €70, €140.
And higher.
Luxury hotels, particularly in Baixa and Chiado, maybe €150, €250 and up. Stylish places along Avenida da Liberdade. And charming historic hotels, probably 150 plus.
And choosing an area depends on what you're looking for.
Definitely. Alfama is super atmospheric, authentic, lots of characterful places. But those narrow, steep streets can be tough, especially in summer heat.
Good point.
Baixa and Chiado are very central, convenient, great for first-timers, lots of amenities, more upscale options. Barro Alto is party central, great if you want nightlife right there, but potentially noisy.
Makes sense.
Avenida da Liberdade is definitely high-end, luxury vibes, also good for first-timers. Gado Sodre, another nightlife hub, also central and good for exploring. And for business travelers, Parque das Nações out near the airport is modern and convenient.
Okay, lots to consider based on your trip style. So we've got food, a place to stay. How do we actually get around this hilly city?
Well, walking is fantastic for exploring central areas like Baixa or Chiado, but yeah, those hills, be prepared. Luckily, public transport is really good. You've got the famous old remodelado trams, like the 28 cost about £1.50 a trip. And modern Siemens trams, too, same price. Buses are extensive, clean, efficient. Also £1.50 single, cheaper with a prepaid card, or $6.45 for a 24-hour pass.
And the metro.
The metro is great, efficient, easy to figure out, English signs. Single ride is $1.50 again. Using a Viva Viagem card is probably the way to go for unlimited travel on buses, trams, and metros. It's around $7 US a day. Super convenient.
Okay, that sounds like a good deal. What about those elevators and funiculars?
Yeah, they're brilliant for the steep hills. The Elevador de Santa Justa costs about 5.1 fee for the ride, or just 1.50 for the viewpoint access. The funiculars, like Elevador de Bica or Gloria, are also part of the transport network and great shortcuts.
And taxis or ride-sharing?
Taxis start around 3.50 dollars, then about €0.50 per kilometer. Generally pricier, might have extra fees for luggage or airport trips. Uber, Bolt, Free Now are all there, but often not drastically cheaper than taxis, apparently.
So maybe that Lisboa card is worth looking into.
Absolutely. It gives you free entry to loads of attractions, plus unlimited public transport. Costs about 22 US for 24 hours. Also comes in 48 and 72-hour versions. And the Crane de Sintra is included in the 24-hour one. Can be really good value if you plan to see a lot.
Right. Renting a car, necessary.
Generally, no, not for getting around Lisbon itself.
Yeah, right.
Public transport is too good, and parking can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But if you want to explore further afield, like the Serra da Arabada coast or the Alentejo region, then yeah, small car rental could be good, maybe 30, 40 euros a day.
Okay, makes sense. So the big question, cost. What's a realistic daily budget?
It really varies, obviously. But as a rough guide, a backpacker could maybe manage on around 50 EUR a day. That's staying in dorms, cooking some meals, sticking to public transport, focusing on free stuff. Maybe add 515 EUR for drinks.
Middle range?
Mid-range. Maybe aim for around 130 EUR per day. That could get you a private Airbnb or hostel room, eating at cheaper local spots, plus some self-catering, using public transport, and maybe the odd taxi, hitting some paid attractions.
And if you want a bit more comfort?
Upscale, you're probably looking at 240 EUR per day and upwards. That's hotels, eating out for most meals, drinks, maybe renting a car for excursions, visiting lots of paid sites. you could easily spend much more, of course.
Right. Any top tips for keeping costs down?
Yeah, a few easy wins. Bring a reusable water bottle. Tap water is safe to drink. Get the Lisboa card or at least a Viva Vigem transport pass if you'll use public transport a lot.
Cook some meals yourself if you have facilities.
Definitely. Take advantage of free walking tours. New Europe tours get mentioned often. Consider couch surfing if you're really on a tight budget. Skip taxis mostly.
Oh, and the bread and olives thing?
Yes, good one. At restaurants, if they put bread, olives, cheese, etc. on your table when you sit down, it's usually not free. If you don't want it, just politely say no or ask them to take it away. Otherwise, it'll appear on your bill.
Sneaky.
Just standard practice there. Also, use BlaBlaCar for ride-sharing between cities if you're traveling around Portugal. And remember, the Berardo Museum is free on Saturdays.
Okay, great practical tips. So when should we actually go? What's the best time to visit Lisbon?
Most sources point to spring, like April to June, and autumn, September, October, as the sweet spots. The weather's generally really pleasant, fewer crowds than summer, maybe see some flowers in spring.
Sounds ideal.
Summer, June to August, is peak season. It's hot, can be 25, 30 degrees C or higher. That's 77, 86 degrees thereabouts. It's crowded, but also very lively. Great beach weather, obviously. Beach season runs May to end of September, roughly.
And winter.
Winter, November to February, is mild compared to Northern Europe, maybe around 10 degrees C, 50 degrees Harris. But you get more chance of rain, sometimes quite a bit. It's much quieter, though, fewer tourists, generally cheaper, and everything stays open, so it's definitely doable year-round. Depends what you prefer.
Okay, good overview. What about the vibe, the culture, the people?
Well, you hear about saudade. That Portuguese feeling of longing or nostalgia kind of permeates the culture, definitely influences Fado music. Generally, the Portuguese people are known for being really friendly and welcoming. English is widely spoken, especially in tourism, but trying a few words of Portuguese is always appreciated.
Always nice to try.
There's a real sense of history and tradition. You see it everywhere. And the pace of life tends to be a bit more laid back than, say, London or New York. It's also very family-focused. Kids are welcome pretty much everywhere.
That's lovely. Okay, last crucial point. Safety. How safe is Lisbon?
Lisbon is generally considered a very safe city for travelers. Even solo female travelers usually report feeling comfortable. Violent crime is rare.
That's reassuring. Any specific things to watch out for?
The main issue is petty crime, mostly pickpocketing. You just need to be aware of your surroundings, especially in crowded places, markets, public transport, definitely Tram 28, touristy areas like Belém or Baixá. Keep valuables secure, don't flash cash or expensive items.
Standard city smarts, really.
Exactly. Also, watch your step on the narrow, sometimes uneven streets, and be aware of the trams. You might get approached by people offering drugs. Personal use is decriminalized, but selling isn't. Just a firm, polite, no thanks is usually enough.
Okay. Any specific advice for solo women?
Just the usual precautions you take anywhere. Keep an eye on your drink in bars. Try not to walk home alone late at night if you've been drinking heavily. But generally, it's considered safe.
Good. An emergency number.
It's a 112, the standard European emergency number. And yeah, always a good idea to have travel insurance, just in case.
Absolutely. Okay, so to wrap it all up, Lisbon sounds like this amazing mix, doesn't it? History, modernity, culture, food.
Yeah, this blend of old-world charm in places like Alfama, the energy of Beira Alto, the soulful music, the amazing food scene. And it's relatively affordable and safe for a European capital.
It really seems to have a broad appeal, something for history buffs, foodies, nightlife seekers, beach lovers.
Definitely caters to a lot of different tastes.
So for you listening, what part of Lisbon sounds most appealing? Is it wandering those historic alleys, hearing Fado live, stuffing yourself with Pastel de Nata, or maybe just soaking up the views from a Miradoro?
Lots to tempt you, for sure. It's definitely given us plenty to think about for our own travel plans.